The 28th of February, 2025, a day that sent shockwaves through Washington and beyond. What was supposed to be a high-stakes diplomatic meeting in the Oval Office turned into a political firestorm. President Donald Trump, Vice President J.D. Vance, and Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky locked horns in a heated and chaotic exchange that left alliances fractured, deals unsigned, and the future of U.S. Ukraine relations hanging by a thread. So what exactly happened behind closed doors? And more importantly, what happens next? Within minutes of Zelensky's departure from the White House, the political machine was already spinning. News networks scrambled for information. Some reports described an explosive argument over U.S. aid and Ukraine's next moves in the war. Others claimed Trump had pressed Zelensky on negotiating with Russia, while J.D. Vance reportedly reinforced a tougher stance on American involvement. Whatever the truth, the result was clear. The White House meeting ended in disaster. There was no deal on critical minerals, no clear diplomatic path forward, and perhaps most damaging of all, no press conference to smooth things over. In Washington, that silence was deafening. As expected, the Republican response was mixed. Trump's MAGA loyalists cheered his firm stance, arguing that U.S. resources shouldn't be a blank check for Ukraine. Meanwhile, establishment conservatives worried that the incident could weaken U.S. influence abroad. J.D. Vance, Trump's vice president and a rising force in the party, appeared to take a harder line than even some expected. Was this his way of solidifying his position as the heir to Trump's America First movement? Or was he just following the boss's lead? Either way, his aggressive posture in the meeting is already making headlines. On the other side, Democrats wasted no time calling the White House encounter a foreign policy blunder. Some claimed it played right into Vladimir Putin's hands, painting the U.S. as an unreliable ally. Others warned that this would send shockwaves through NATO, with European leaders now scrambling to reassure Ukraine that the West still has its back. President Biden, who has largely taken a back seat in the 2024 election aftermath, made a rare statement, calling the event deeply concerning. Meanwhile, congressional Democrats began pushing for emergency talks on U.S. military aid. Across the Atlantic, European leaders were already in damage control mode. British Prime Minister Keir Starmer and French President Emmanuel Macron issued statements reaffirming their support for Ukraine. Germany's chancellor, struggling with his own political troubles, warned that now is not the time for division among Western allies. But behind closed doors, the question is clear. If Trump is pulling back, does Europe have to step up? So where does this leave the world? The dramatic showdown in the Oval Office could have serious consequences. Without a clear commitment from the U.S., Zelensky now faces immense pressure to find new allies, strike different deals, or even consider alternative strategies in the war. Could this force him to negotiate with Russia, or will Europe fill the gap left by America? The divide within the GOP could widen. Will traditional conservatives push back against Trump's hardline approach, or will they fall in line? Trump's actions are already being viewed through the lens of his potential second term. If this is how he's handling diplomacy now, what does that mean for the future? One thing is for sure, this story is far from over. Stay tuned as the fallout unfolds. Will this be a turning point in U.S. foreign policy, or just another chapter in the Trump-era political drama? Either way, the world is watching.